Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Darth. We're back with Queensblade Limit Break with some more video content, and I've kind of moved this up in my schedule of actually planned, or at least my personally planned, content release. I still have to cover quite a few changes that have made it into the game, particularly when it comes to the new game mode. As well as the new gearing option that's tied to that game mode. But a lot of people have asked me the questions about the Ultimate Warrior Ruellia, because I have not covered her since her release. I have planned to do that, so I am moving this up, and I just want to get it out there. Keep in mind, this is just my opinion. There are several Ultimate Warriors out there. I have quite a few of them. I've played around with some of them extensively. They've asked my opinion. People have asked my opinion about which is the best, which one should I pull for because of limited resources. They don't want to make a mistake, and yada yada yada. If I had to guess right now, I've played with Vesper. She actually was I was really impressed with her at first, but then the more I played around with her, the more I became unimpressed with her. Not to say that she's not bad. Volko, really solid, but she's been outshined actually by Fashionista, in my opinion, even though she does have some unique items about her. But if I had to say right now, two of the best Ultimate Warriors outside of Volko and the Fashionista, the number one spot would probably go to Tamo, just because of her ability to buff her damage by 100%, as well as debuff the enemy into oblivion, as well as ignore, defense, as well as follow-up attacks. So I think that she's probably the number one in PvP, and she does really well across every other aspect of the game, including boss damage, especially if you have Aranea, the dual attribute warrior, in your boss rank to increase damage. However, that's not to say that the one we're going to talk about today, Ruela, is not great. She's actually outperforming Volko damage-wise because of her ignored defense, as well as the way that she functions. And she has a special place in my heart because I believe in the stat evasion, and this warrior is an evasion monster. It's hard to hit her. You can still debuff her. You can still deal debuff damage. You can still heal down and do all that other stuff, but if you can't hit her with direct attacks, both magical and physical, you can't really do those massive hits either. So let's just go and take a look at her. I really like her. I don't think you can go wrong pulling for her. However, Tamo seems to be the heavy favorite, and for a lot of reasons. But as I will show you, I think that this particular warrior is also a counter to Tamo, and you'll just have to kind of hear me out as we take a look at her. So she's classified as a warrior, counter, ignore defense, group attack, yada yada. Her passive, attack plus 50%, HP plus 30, crit rate plus 20, and evasion plus 30. So you're starting off with 30% evasion off the bat, which is actually really good. If you can't really do too much damage to somebody you can't hit. As her HP goes down to 80%, 60, 40, and 20 respectively, or below, for the first time each, her evade chance will increase by 50% and can stack. So if she goes down to 80, she's going to get an evasion increase. If she goes down to 60, especially when she gets hit successively, which is hard to do, she's an evasion monster. If you hit all these numbers successfully, you're going to have huge evade chances because it stacks. Also, one thing that is really awesome is that during battle, immobilization resist is increased by 1% for every 1% evasion. So you can get well over 100% evasion. It is possible. On a lot of my warriors, I actually have about 75% evasion, and that is with the rune skill as well. So if you have 100% evasion, you basically have 100% immobilization resistance, which is actually kind of decent. So she actually, the more evasion you stack on her, we'll talk about a few ways to get evasion, the more immobilization resists, making it much harder for her to be immobilized. So her first ability, 2 turns, triggers on turn 1, deals 150% physical damage that ignores defense. Huge. Anytime you see ignore defense, it is actually huge. To the enemy with the highest attack. She's only hitting one enemy, highest attack priority. She'll reduce the target's hit rate by 30% and will last for 2 turns. So she can basically maintain this because of the cooldown and the fact that it triggers basically every 2 turns anyways. Hit rate. What that means is basically they're reducing your hit rate. Most warriors have a certain hit rate anyways. I think it's 20% or above. And so unless you invest in the very few ways to get your hit rate up, she's making it much harder for you to hit her, thus benefiting more from the evasion. That's all that really that's all that really means. So on her turn 2 4-turn cooldown, she'll deal 90% physical damage, which isn't a lot, but she's hitting all enemies, and again, she is ignoring defense. She increases her own evasion chance by 50% on top of whatever you might have anyways. And it doesn't stop there anyways, thus playing into you can't hit me, you can't damage me. Again, debuff damage like curse, flame, and stuff like that still actually hit. Those chances are completely separate from a direct attack. Again, a direct attack is any physical damage or magical damage that is a normal turn action. It also applies to follow-up attacks. It also applies to various other things. Now, what's confusing about that is I've used her in the Spider Queen boss, and I have noticed that one of her actions, I think she hits poison debuff. I have evaded the attack because she hit several times. That is a direct attack, but the debuff damage still actually applies. So you can still take damage. Make no mistake about that. But direct attacks, where the bulk of some warriors' attack comes from, is actually being severely reduced. So it's like dodging the attack. Final ability, at the start of every turn, she will get a evade chance plus 30%. So more evasion, right? If successful, counter and deal 60% physical damage that ignores defense to all enemies. Own evade minus 15%. Counter damage increases by 20% each time it triggers within the turn, up to a maximum of 5 counters. What this is saying is that we're going to give you 30% extra evade at the start of every turn. When you are attacked, though, to keep her from basically being overpowered, if you will, they have a built-in safeguard. If you successfully counter an attack, you are actually going to deal 60% damage that ignores defense to everybody, but then they're going to take 15% of your evasion away, and every time you do evade an attack, though, and counterattack, basically your damage actually goes up by 20%. Now this kind of puts into perspective, if you're really reading what this actually does, you actually want her to be slower on your team. Now hear me out about that. Let's say you're dealing with, the other team actually hits you several times, and you evade the attack, okay, fine. You're increasing your damage. Yes, you're reducing your evasion chance, but you're increasing the damage. 20% times 5 is 100%, so you're increasing your damage by 100%. So if you go last, and even if the enemy actually goes before you, which is a dangerous gambit to begin with. Let's say all 5 of them hit you, you increase your damage. Now when you go in and hit with your abilities, you're actually hitting 100% more damage. You're hitting way harder on these particular abilities. Alright? That's just how I would look at it. Not that you really want to go slower, but that's how I would actually do it. And you want to actually put her out front as a tank, so to say. Kind of like a lot of warriors, like Pirate Captain and the new Heartmaster. You want to put them out front because they benefit from getting hit. Counterattack on Spicy Pirate doesn't trigger unless she's attacked. This particular warrior you want to put out there because she can't get hit, right? She has all this evasion. She's going to stack that damage up, then she uses her ability, and then she smacks you and ignores all your defense. She's a really solid warrior. I really, really like her. Now, I pulled for her. I do have her at 9-star, and I do plan on pulling for her. There's other ways that I can get pearls to pull for her. I do have her. However, I would really like to have these 2 warriors right here, Tamo and her. Now, the reason I say that she's the counter Tamo is because Tamo benefits really from this one ability right here, as well as life steal. She can increase her damage up to 100%. Can't be removed, though, is the problem. She doesn't have to build it up. But what she does is she inflicts lifesteal on the person with the highest attack. So if you have Ruela, the biggest, and this one right here is one of the biggest reasons I lose PvP battles, is because I don't have her. And she just has this uncanny ability to just do damage. Remove your ability to heal. You can't revive. And then she just gets Judgment down here that increases the damage even further. She triggers follow-up attacks. So, theoretically, what I would do is make Ruela my highest attacker, ensuring that she gets lifesteal, and then this person can come in here, and although these debuffs still apply, she can't hit me with any of her attacks. That's the ultimate goal there. Now, you can do this with any warrior. I put a high priority on evasion. I evade attacks all the time, especially in boss battles. People have been sleeping on evasion since the beginning of the game, and I've been known to, my guild will tell you, even last year I was telling them, you guys need to invest in evade. You may not be able to evade debuff damage, but any damage, direct, especially if you're getting hit. Imagine getting hit with a 10 million attack and then just completely ignoring it. That's what evasion does for you if you can get it high enough. So, let's talk about ways you can get evasion. Alright, jewels. 2 evasion slots right here, okay? Right there. I just build my jewels up for evasion. I got 23.5 right there. Gearing on your feet. When you upgrade your blessings, I actually went with evasion. You actually get, if you soul cast, you can get up to a 50% increase in your evasion. If you actually look at the stats here, you can get your evasion up fairly high, all the way up to 15%. That's 30% there, but you get a 50% increase if you have a high enough blessings. All that, meaning that you can climb it even higher. And Ruela actually gets a lot of evasion when it comes down to it. Now, there's also a skill that gives you, there is a rune skill, that gives you the evasion. During battle, evasion plus 17%. Also, received damage, 18% on targets with Divine Might and Charge. So it's increasing your damage, but you're getting a 17% evasion chance during battle. I'm not saying that you should invest in evasion because it takes a long time to get these different ways. All I'm saying is that Ultimate Tamo is probably the #1 Ultimate Warrior you could probably pull for, in my opinion, right now for PvE and PvP content. But Ruela is a very, very close second and can actually counter a lot of the damage received by Tamo. That's my take on it. I think she's a really, really solid warrior in every right. So I don't think you can actually go wrong in pulling for her. But, resources are the ultimate downgrade to that. Don't forget that as your adventurer level rises, one of the best things you could do once you decide on an ultimate warrior is to come into this boost fund right here, and you can get, I think it's like 330 of these, and 30,000, 33,000, I should know this. Buying these funds right here is how people get at least their first warrior to invest in. So getting your adventurer level up as high as you can is actually, and actually I forgot to mention that boost fund is, this particular instance is only about 50, I think it's $50 for all those pearls. That's the best deal you're going to get, and you get all the gems with it as well. Hopefully that answers your questions, Tamo, but I think if you decided to go with Ruela, I actually think you'll be making a wise choice. She smacks. She does so much damage even at 9-star, and I'm about to 10-star her on this go-around. I wish I had Tamo, but I'm not disappointed that I did decide to go for Ruela. What do you guys think? Who has Tamo? I know you guys have Tamo because I see her in every PvP arena battle out there. Do you have Ruela? What do you think of the analysis, the comparison of two? I think they're both capable of the same amount of damage, ultimately. I think Tamo probably comes out ahead single target, but overall, I think Ruela hits and does more damage in the end. But I think I think the edge kind of goes to Tamo. If you have Ruela, let me know what you guys think. The spicy pose is also really good. I think I've gone over this before, just the demonic sword and the hands, just getting a big old handful of yum-yums there and guarding everything that's holy down here. So let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next one.